Wemby versus LeBron. Bruce got it circled on his calendar.
Oh, I'm up tonight watching that, baby.
Is LeBron definitely playing?
It's a back-to-back. I would think so.
Might be just Luka versus Wemby.
That's a good call.
I'm taking my
Luka versus Wemby is
still good.
I'm taking my nephew to Spurs Knicks in March for his birthday.
That's nice.
I just
Happy birthday.
Knicks?
Yeah, well, it hasn't
Seems a little
come.
early.
No, that's what his birthday's.
Knicks need to go get Giannis.
Because they're afraid of the Celtics. Jason
No,
Tatum.
they lost 4 straight and they're starting to fade. And clearly the defense is kind of a problem.
They don't.
Nah, I try. That's why
don't have
Leon
the
Rose
picks.
and those guys get paid the big bucks.
That's exactly
3,
right.
4, 5
right.
team deal.
If
Whatever.
they just sit here on the
4,
trade
5
machine, I can do it.
Go get Giannis.
Excellent point. We start with a new start in Baltimore. We've had 24 hours to digest the firing. Brew, yesterday you talked about how change can be good for the organization and that Harbaugh's voice grew stale. Now that you've sat with it overnight, are you more confident in the Ravens' future right now than you were yesterday before the firing, a.k.a. did they make the right move?
I mean, I think they made the right move. Harbaugh's a good coach, so I was confident. You guys know I was confident we're going to make the playoffs and then certainly had a puncher's chance of making a run. This is not about Harbaugh not being a good coach. Obviously, I've said it. You know, guys know I've been saying for a couple of years his seat should be hot, right? And I said as soon as he's fired, he'll get a job whenever he wants it. And obviously, he's in high demand. He's the #1 guy on the market right now. But they absolutely made the right move. I mean, it had to be done. And let me say this first. People, stop saying if Tyler Loop had made the field goal, he wouldn't have gotten fired. He would still be the coach. Yeah, maybe for another week, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe. I think they had to at least probably get to the AFC Championship game. Maybe it was SBOB, maybe Super Bowl, but certainly go deep in the playoffs.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, everybody's
100%.
acting like, oh, now he missed the kick, so different. No, this is about, Nick, the previous at least 3 years. I would say 3 years, because 3 things have defined this Ravens team over the last 3 years. 1, underachievement, okay? They get the first seed, they get Kansas City at home in the AFC Championship game, and they can't deliver. This year, they are the preseason pick by many to get to the. I think they were the official pick.
They were the favorite. They were the Vegas favorite, right? To win the Super Bowl.
Win the Super Bowl. They don't even make the playoffs. All right, I get you had injuries, but still, they had more than enough opportunities to make the playoffs with Lamar playing. So that's number 1, underachievement. Number 2, blown leads. We know that the Ravens under Harbaugh have blown the most fourth-quarter leads, double-digit leads, in the last 6 seasons, all right, last 6 years. And then the third thing is beating themselves and / finding a way to lose. Now, the first 2, underachievement and blown leads, are typically things you look at the coaching. In basketball, in football, if you keep blowing leads, you can't hold a lead. Your team never plays up to its full potential. Those are coaching things. The third one is partially coaching, partially players. I'm not blaming Harbaugh for the drop pass last year by the tight end. I'm not Mark Andrews. I'm not blaming him for the missed kick by Tyler Loop. But the other things are largely on the coaching. And so I think it's just time for a new, because Nick, if they came back next year with Harbaugh, there would be a malaise, almost a dark cloud, I think, over them. Now, they would try and go hard, but the disappointment they've suffered over the last few years, they just need a culture change.
So I agree with everything you said, yet I don't think anything you said is the biggest reason. The biggest reason it was the right move to fire John Harbaugh was because they, I think, correctly chose their 29-year-old quarterback over their 62-year-old head coach. And it was not going to be tenable to run it back with this coach-quarterback combo, barring the type of, I don't want to say miraculous like it was impossible, but a playoff run that rebonded those 2 guys. Because this disconnect, John Harbaugh lost Lamar Jackson. I had been hinting at it for weeks via informed speculation is what I will call it. And then he gets fired, and within 6 hours, all the insiders are like, the Lamar Jackson in that locker room sure seemed to have tuned him out. Rappaport this morning says the next head coach's #1 job is going to be to try to reach Lamar Jackson.
He actually said finding.
Right.
Use that word,
and
finding,
so
whatever.
I have very good reason to believe from what I would call circumstantial evidence and real information that bringing back John Harbaugh was not going to land well at all with Lamar Jackson. And that is not just because he didn't give him the vote of confidence at the end. And it was this relationship and whatever, I don't know if I want to call it mistrust, but had been brewing all year wide out in the open via publicly available injury reports, availability designations, and practice schedules. And Lamar's missing of Wednesday practices for different injuries, and then for an illness, and then for a rest day, and then having a full participant in practice, and then missing a game, which again, we saw him get hurt. I know he was hurt, but there was not the level of communication between what the severity of the injury and its impact on the upcoming game between coach and quarterback that every franchise has to have to succeed. And there was no reason to believe, this isn't like conspiratorial stuff. What's the one team in the league this year that got fined by the NFL because they had the wrong injury report designation for their star quarterback? The Ravens. And that was 12 weeks ago and 4 injuries ago. So I am not saying, and I do not believe Lamar Jackson went to Steve Bisciotti and said, fire John Harbaugh. That is not what I'm saying. What I am saying is the Ravens are about to enter what I think is going to be a very potentially difficult, understandably, negotiation with their quarterback, and it would have been an impossible one had they not made this move. So that's why, even if you think Harbaugh is a great coach, and even if you're not as high on Lamar as Brew is, and you're closer to where I am, which is, you understand what I mean. Right. Lamar Jackson in 2026 is a better quarterback than John Harbaugh is coach, and brings more value.
You don't get rid of a star player.
Who's still in his prime, you hope, and even if he's on the backside of his prime at that position, there's just not enough of them. So to me, it was the only move they could make.
And the thing is, quickly, Lamar clearly has the utmost respect in that locker room. Like you can see that. And so I'm not saying because he kind of soured on Harbaugh that everybody did it because of that. Maybe it was their own reasons. But clearly he's the leader in that locker room. And that's what you want, from your quarterback.
Sure. You talked about it being a risk. So I had Josh dig into the numbers. And this is the full screen we came up with. Longtime coaches leaving. And again, it's a little bit up and down. Patriots have had 2 coaches in 2 years. Seahawks have, just Mike McDonald. Saints have gone through 2 coaches in 4 years, McCarthy to LaFleur. Giants have gone through 4 coaches in 10 years. The Eagles have gone through 3 coaches in 13 years. The Eagles are the only one to reach a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl.
And 2 of their 3 coaches won Super Bowls.
Yeah.
It's a really weird.
But it's
the
like,
Eagles
and
is a
Chip
weird one.
Kelly,
but it's
Chip Kelly got him. Yeah.
But right now you're in like the Chip Kelly zone.
Here's where I would disagree. I don't think it's you're getting rid of a good coach, and they would have. I think if he was back, I think they'd have made the playoffs. But I don't think they were going to win a Super Bowl. And so that's a risk because maybe you get somebody in there that's terrible or whatever. But this has been a good organization. Like they have hired, Billick was a good coach. Then the Harbaugh was a special teams coach.
Yep.
So they found him, it's under Bisciotti since Bisciotti's been the owner. And so I think they'll go out and find a good coach.
But are you expecting it to work right away?
Yeah, because they're like some of
to.
those teams that didn't. The Patriots weren't ready. The Seahawks had good players in place.
Put that back up, if you would.
Packers had good players in place.
So
I think the
Giants have been.
You're not bringing somebody in for a year.
The Giants have been a mess.
Right.
Yeah, but the Giants weren't.
Here's
that
the
good,
distinction
period.
that I would draw there. And this is not.
The two teams with one, you see it.
But it's also, Brew, it's not coincidental that, you know what went hand in hand with a lot of those longtime coaches? Very successful quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So when Belichick left, Brady was gone. When Pete Carroll left, Russell Wilson was gone. When Sean Payton left, Drew Brees, was he gone or did he have 1 year left? I don't even remember. But it was I think he was, but it was Brees is eligible for the Hall of Fame now, so Brees was gone because Sean Payton coached the 1 year without him.
Yeah, Taysom Hill year.
When Coughlin left, Eli was en route to, you know what I mean, was not Eli anymore. Eagles were different because Andy never had the one long-time quarterback. You know, he had McNabb and then Vic.
Yeah. And the Packers had Rodgers.
Right, but he was still there.
That's what I mean.
So that's right. So Rodgers was the one that was still there, and it's the one where you're like, oh, they went from long-time coach to long-time coach because that guy had, even though they've since moved on from Rodgers, he wasn't starting from ground zero at the quarterback spot. In fact, Rodgers had some of his best years under him. The hope for the Ravens is exactly the Matt LaFleur, Aaron Rodgers piece. You were coming off the worst year of Rodgers' career up to that point, his last year with McCarthy. Now he had won a Super Bowl. I understand Lamar hasn't, but he had won MVPs. He was coming off a bad year. It felt like it had gotten stale with a Super Bowl winning coach. You bring in Matt LaFleur, and all of a sudden, right. And this is I think pretty universally accepted as the best opening of a job since that one. That is the last time you had a firing with a at or near their prime first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback. Because normally, if you have a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, you don't lose your job.
Right.
Yep. All right, let's look at this from the Lamar side specifically. We're going to give you one piece of data, one social media post to decode. I know you love those, bro. 4 elite QBs that you mentioned, Nick, in the AFC, which is usually a recipe for coaching stability. Lamar is the first to break up with his coach. Winning percentage, second to just Mahomes and Andy Reid, one at a higher clip than Allen McDermott and Burrow and Taylor. So that's the piece of data. Now time for some social media Easter eggs. Lamar posting this on his Instagram. This is just
wasn't that going into the game? I thought that was him walking into the game.
It's less the photo, more of the audio, bro. Song choice, Coming Out Strong by Future featuring The Weeknd. Now, I'm not going to sing it, not because I can't, but we'll run into all sort of copyright issues.
Yeah.
The Weeknd is very litigious.
Yeah.
But here's the snippet.
So he put this out today again with a
He
song.
posted this today on Instagram.
Must be out of your mind. Do you know who I am? Man, you're killing my vibe. Do you know who I am? Oh, yeah. They take my kindness for weakness. Still coming out strong. Yeah. It says that a few times.
Wow.
So you got to decode.
So
that.
I want to just
Not
to be
nothing.
clear,
You don't
hold
have
on.
to be Inspector Gadget.
But just to be clear, because I didn't even see this, so
Yeah, I didn't either.
I want to make sure I'm understanding it. That was not a caption he wrote on this.
No,
that's
you gotta
just the
go-
song
That's the part
that
of the
went
song
along.
that's
That's the
playing.
part
Well,
of
you
the
have to
song that's
find
playing.
like, ooh, I
Yeah.
like that
Right,
part.
you have to.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, my wife's big on this. My wife posts stuff all the time. I'm like, is that about me?
You really, yeah.
It is about you.
I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on. I was like,
Just
why
a
is
random
this part
snippet,
playing? I don't like that one bit.
You're killing my vibe.
Yeah, well, hold on.
Wow. I mean, that's strong. Like I said, I have trouble deciphering some of LeBron's, stuff like this, but this,
Well, LeBron's are easier now. He loves playing golf.
that's pretty easy, I would think. I mean, now there was a report that came out today that Todd Monken and Lamar had the problem and Harbaugh was kind of the buffer. Whatever the case, Lamar clearly wasn't feeling good about the situation.
Correct.
So, as far as what changes for Lamar, I think he's in line. He's going to get a big fat contract extension. Like, you chose him to a large degree over the coaching staff. You don't do that with a 29-year-old in his birthday's today, actually. Happy birthday, Lamar. Yeah. He's 29 years old, still in his prime. And we disagree here, Nick, because he may not be, he's obviously not the runner he used to be. He still, when healthy, I think will be more than adequate. Maybe now he's down to where all the other good runners outside of Josh Allen are. You know what I mean? He'll still be a good runner. But his passing, I think his passing has improved incredibly throughout his career. And these are his career ranks in the Super Bowl era. He's 5th all-time in win percentage. You showed that earlier, Wilds. He's 2nd. He's really tied for 1st with Aaron Rodgers. Both of them at 102.2. Touchdown percentage, because he doesn't throw as much as others, but a lot of touchdowns, he's 1st. And in yards per attempt, he's 4th. So I get what you're saying, and you're right that if he's not the runner he used to be, it will definitely change. Yeah. But he's the best passing quarterback of all the running quarterbacks that I would think, unless you include like a Steve Young or something.
I was going to say Steve Young.
But take him. But Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick,
Do you
guys
include
like
Josh Allen?
I think Lamar's a better passer.
So I thought you were going to say that.
Josh Allen. Yes.
So I don't
better
think
passer.
He certainly has better. Listen, the numbers are not close.
He's never had a Stephon Diggs.
His efficiency numbers are far better than Allen's. Allen's, prolificness, yardage numbers, and total.
Yeah, he throws more.
He throws it more and throws it for more yards.
But Allen too, Nick, has the threat that Lamar has. Like defenses cover him the same way because he could run. Mm-hmm. He's just as much of a running threat as Lamar.
So, what's this mean for Lamar? Since he's been awesome, they have had multiple defensive coordinator changes to switch things up. Obviously, you don't put that on him at all, like he literally doesn't play defense, but the team has changed defensive coordinators. They've changed offensive coordinators since he's been awesome.
Right.
Greg won an MVP with Greg Roman, won an MVP with Todd Monken. Now he's going to have a new offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. They've now also changed head coaches. They went out and got Derrick Henry, who since he's been there, leads all running backs in everything. Yards per game, touchdowns. I think now rushes as well because he passed Saquon, was the one guy with more, and Saquon sat out this past week. Right. Since he's been there, the Baltimore Ravens have used 3 first-round picks on wide receivers. Now, I haven't loved any of the players. Zay Flowers is coming off his best year, but there hasn't been a team that has dedicated more first-round picks in this time to wide receivers. And every year, when they announce the Pro Bowl, for whatever it's worth, it's replete with Ravens. You know what I mean? He always has a ton of Pro Bowls.
They had 6 this year.
That's what I mean. Yeah, last year, I think 2 years ago, they set the record for it the year they. So, the last house on the left is Lamar's. Everything's been addressed. Everything's been changed.
Right.
And he has to deliver and be available. So I think this number will surprise you guys. In the last 5 years, since we've really had this quarterback big four, Allen and Mahomes have played the exact same number of games, 93. Allen, 84 regular season, 9 playoff. Patrick, 80 regular season, 13 playoff. 93 games for those two guys in the last 5 years. You know who also have played the exact same number of games?
Oh, I'd be surprised.
Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, 74. More than a season less. 19 games less for both of them. For Lamar, it's 70 regular season and 4 playoff in this stretch, and for Burrow, it's 67 regular season. Well, so regular season it's 70 to 67 Lamar versus Joe. Playoffs, it's 4 to 7. But it's for those guys, Lamar and Joe have played 74 games in the last 5 years. Patrick and Josh have played 93.
Joe misses so much time, he's thinking about retiring.
Well, so that's...
But here, let me add, because I got some numbers for you too quickly. Lamar has missed 17 games in the last 7 years. His first year was a rookie year.
Yeah.
So last 7 years, he's missed 17 regular season games. Burrow, in his 6 years, because that's all he's played, has missed 26.
Yeah, so
and then Dak Dak Prescott in his last 6 years has missed 24.
So
those guys are missing far more games than Lamar.
So, but in the last 5 years, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson played the same amount of football. They both played 74 games, and now if we want to, if we say just regular season, then it's 70 to 67. But we talk correctly about Joe about being an injury risk, and about availability being a problem. Lamar Jackson is now going to, this offseason, get a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, and I'm very interested in, because I go back to that Baltimore Sun article about Lamar's offseason participation. I don't know how quickly this contract is getting done. I do know that what would be very important for the new head coach, a new offensive coordinator, a new system, is Lamar Jackson to be there the whole time. And I do know that the Ravens have to have a healthy and available Lamar Jackson, and that's before we even get to, and we need you to play your best in the postseason. So like there's no other doors to push on as far as why is Baltimore not breaking through is the point I'm making.
The pressure, to me, he's under a lot of pressure because a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, are putting this on Lamar. Like Harbaugh's not there because of Lamar Jackson, right? So that people are going to look at him like you got to deliver a Super Bowl. But that was the case anyway. If they were bringing Harbaugh back, it would be you got to win a Super Bowl at some point. So the pressure on him is immense, whether Harbaugh was the coach or whoever's the coach. But I think of him, and I would imagine you do too, different from Burrow in that Lamar's injured. He's missed, hamstring, some for illness.
Only one game. That was the COVID year. I think he missed one game.
Yeah, his injuries haven't, like Burrow's injuries have been like, you can't play the rest of the year and stuff like that. Lamar's, I think, have been more
nagging, slight type stuff, but
like
I don't know if what's better or worse. And it's just, it is, the availability has been he has not been, in the last 5 years, he's played in the playoffs twice. Just as same as Joe Burrow.
It's wild.
I mean, it's weird. It is 1 year, but it's just the reality of where he's at.
Time now for the most literal version of must win yet. Wild card must win. Coach Mangini winless in his last several tries, but he said he was on a self-scout.
Upset too.
Oh yeah.
The intro makes me bitter.
Hey, lock in. First up, 49ers back in Philadelphia Sunday at 4. This one's on Fox. Last matchup, 49ers tore the Eagles apart. Time before that, Brock tore his UCL. The conference championship. That's a bummer. I'm just giving the facts, man.
I understand, but you were like, tore him apart. Then you're like, suffered catastrophic injury.
Wasn't catastrophic.
Well, tear your UCL.
Since the start of November, the San Francisco offense and Philly defense been hot as a pistol. Brew, you're the reigning two-time champion. You go for a three-peat.
Going for three-peat? Oh my! Nick tried.
I did three.
Did you do?
Yes, I did three.
Yes. But this is wild card
didn't
weekend.
feel
This is
majestic
okay,
as
exactly.
well.
Or are you passing?
You're passing or playing?
I'm playing.
Okay,
I'm playing. This is an absolute must-win for the Eagles.
The whole team?
The Eagles. All right. The Niners are playing with house money with all their injuries. It's a great that they even got here. So they're playing with house money. The Eagles somehow, Coach Nick Sirianni, the seat seems to be a little bit hot. Oh. I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat, but that seat feels warm. And if he loses this game, who knows what in the world could happen? I mean, John Harbaugh's available. So I'm just saying. Jalen Hurts, all of a sudden, people have forgotten that he's been to 2 Super Bowls and won one as the MVP. So he's, if he loses this game, who knows what? A.J. Brown is just one loss away from starting something.
Oh! What do you mean?
Like Michael Jackson said, want to be starting something.
Yeah, remember that
He
song?
might say something and start something,
Ooh,
and they're at home. Absolute must-win for
I like
you.
the A.J. Brown part. The rest of it felt like appetizers to me.
Yeah, I like where you're heading, but I'm going to narrow it down to just Nick Sirianni. And here's the reason why. So he made the decision not to play the starters last week, which was controversial in consideration of what happened and them losing the 2 seed, where they could have potentially had the 2 seed, and they've been 5-0 when they've played at home. And both the NFC Championship games we're at home. So there's that. But the flip side of that, I thought he actually made it a good decision, even though it was controversial, from a health standpoint, because both of his Super Bowl runs have come with extremely healthy teams. In 2022, is 22 out of 23 starters healthy. In 2024, is 21 out of 22 starters healthy. And now this year, he only has 1 of 22 starters on IR. And again, we should be 21 out of 22 guys healthy. So it was a controversial decision. And Harbaugh is looming, and people don't love him always. But when you look at it in comparison from a health perspective.
Coach, do you know if Lane Johnson is back at practice?
I didn't get the
He is.
most recent update.
He is. I just got it in my ears.
Another great,
Nice numbers.
another
Was
great
that
decision.
Are you trying to give
Coach,
yourself?
right, I think
What are
you were
doing?
poking at Coach.
Listen,
He was testing. It was a pop quiz, Coach. That was a pop quiz. I thought you brought your A game.
It
apparently
is,
lost
it is Wednesday.
He just told me.
It literally just broke since you've been.
It just
talking
broke.
about it.
Excellent.
So
I like
I thought Coach's answer was so great. I don't have much more to add except for I'm just going to piggyback off the Sirianni piece, which is this: John Harbaugh. Where was he before he was in Baltimore? Oh, Philadelphia. Yeah, and so when there was the reporting yesterday that more teams than there are current job openings called about John Harbaugh or about his availability. A lot of people, I think, probably smartly connected that team to Miami.
Yeah.
I am curious, and I would not put it past Howie Roseman and most notably Jeffrey Lurie, if this thing goes sideways at home in that building, to truly take Harbaugh's temperature. But Coach is right. It's a must-win for Nick Sirianni for those reasons.
Coach was on text complaining about the scoring system. He said he did a self-scout, and he came back in a major way. The very rare 2-point victory.
The 2-point.
2-pointer.
A lot
for
of that
question
was
one.
what I said.
No.
Sirianni.
You were just doing proper
Who
nouns.
was the first to bring up John Harbaugh?
Well,
John Harbaugh.
They all piggyback.
Bills favored in Jacksonville. Josh versus Trevor and his grills. Look at this. Teams that took an 8-game win streak into the wild card like the Jags. 4-0 in the last 15 years. Who is this a must-win for, Coach?
To me, this is a must-win for Jacksonville, but it's really a must-win for Nick Wright.
Ooh.
And here's why. His love for the Prince is well documented, but then we went through this phase where he stopped loving the Prince.
I
Drop,
did not.
Coach, you're absolutely right.
Hold on a second.
No
You don't have to respond. This is my turn. I watched
even up
on
for
a
debate.
TikTok or an Instagram or something behind the scenes where you traded the dude away, the trumpeteers away for virtually nothing. You literally you literally sold low. So now they get hot again and everything's excited and you've got no Mahomes and you've got no Kansas City and you're hitting the blonde wig. So now if they win,
Josh, get him to his corner. This is good.
if they
is
win,
on fire.
Nick gets to bow up again and drop some banners.
Okay. Coach, I supported you a moment ago. You're totally missing.
That was a mistake.
You're
This is
totally,
cutthroat.
you're totally
Coach is on your
misrepresenting
blood,
all of it.
man.
First of all,
Playoff.
I never
This is playoff
abandoned.
must win.
I never abandoned Trevor. However, during the dog days of the Doug Peterson era, we did have 2 separate bosses fly into town and give us a presentation. That the point of it was, here are all the shows on sports TV that don't talk about the Jags, and it was every show that existed. And here's you guys, you have to stop. So that and
But
I
I'm
was
the bad guy.
right? And I was trying to do KW a favor with the trumpeteers. However, to respond to Coach fully, not only is this not a must-win for me, it's a can't-lose for me. Because while, yes, obviously, I'm the Jags and Trevor Lawrence guy, I'm also the only person on this show for 2 years that has said that Buffalo Bills team is championship caliber. That the only team in the AFC I believe in more than the Bills is the Chiefs, and they're in a bit of a down year. I don't know if people have noticed. With that said, this is obviously a must-win for Josh Allen. It is one thing to spend the 2020s not reaching the Super Bowl because Patrick Mahomes with a little cameo from Joe Burrow prevent you from going there. It's another thing if the folks in Duval and Trevor Lawrence's glorious locks that nobody respects but me beat you. It's a whole different spin on why hasn't Josh Allen gotten through if they lose this game to a Jags team that very few people actually respect. So it is a must-win for Josh Allen. That's undeniable, despite coaches, just basically going negative.
Great
A
answer.
lot of revisionist history in that second.
What?
Wow.
A lot of
What?
Coach is absolutely right. Nick, this is what he did to Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Dropped him
Mic
like
drops?
a bad habit. Like a bad habit. Must win for the Bills. All right.
You just do the whole.
The coach is on the line. Sean McDermott's job might be on the
You
line.
just fired everybody, bro.
It might be on the line. I'm just saying. You know it's out
What
there.
if the Eagles lose and the Bills lose?
Oh, crazy.
Luckily, there's two.
No, I mean, coaches could be. I'm not as strong on McDermott getting fired or being on the hot seat now as I was, say, 2 years ago. But something might have to change if they lose this game. And Josh, his kryptonite is gone. His kryptonite was Patrick Mahomes. He is not in the playoffs this year. We've given him a pass. Oh, you lost to Mahomes. Everybody loses to Mahomes. And now, what is it?
Yeah.
Who gets the point?
Coach, obviously.
Coach
has locked up at
Coach is
least
on
a tie.
This has to be worth 5 points.
Unfortunately, since it's playoffs, this is worth 5 points.
I thought it might be.
This is five. Right now, it's 3-0.
A second
but this
ago,
is
you
worth
said I had locked up a tie.
high
suddenly
if we were playing by regular season rules. But
I
this
think
is
Coach
worth
got a
five.
That's
trainer
fair
last
enough.
week.
Bonus
My
round, this is worth 5. Chargers in New England. Herbert 0-2 in the playoffs. 4 interceptions, completion percentage at 52%. Drake May has never lost in the playoffs.
This guy.
No interceptions, has never had a singular bad play. This season, Herbert and Drake May, who's in the running for MVP. Nick, this is worth 5 points.
That's fine.
Who is this a must-win for?
You, and everybody knows it, especially people that watched our A block yesterday, which I don't know. I don't know if it was worse than the A block the day after the Patriots beat the New York Giants and you announced them as the new dynasty of the NFL. But it was, you have somehow turned what should be a house money can't lose situation into covered in shame and embarrassment situation because you've decided this is the one team and the one quarterback in NFL history that is simply immune to some first playoff game jitters, that is simply immune to playing. I think what you said is, I don't think Josh McDaniels will allow Drake May to play poorly. Yeah. As if other offensive coordinators are like, you know what, this is the week, I'm just going to let Tom Brady, who had plenty of bad playoff games, play poorly. Some under Josh McDaniels. Strategically, KW, I don't know why you did it, but you've done it. It's a must-win for you and you alone.
That was a nice preliminary take because I'm going to take Nick's take and raise it one. It is not only a must-win for Kevin Wiles, it is a must-win for First Things First.
The show.
Because all of our other top teams, the Ravens, out. The Chiefs, out. You picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl too, Coach. Out. Your team is the last one standing.
I gotta carry
So
this
this is, yes, you have to carry
Yeah.
the show. This is for First Things First, a must-win.
Well, we got a little preview yesterday of
that's-
what
see,
Wiles
Coach
Karen's
cannot-
will
When you
look
ask
like.
me if I'm
that.
worried and I say I'm not worried, you guys
You
are like,
asked
you should
the
be worried
question.
because Tony Romo didn't win the MVP 20
Look,
years ago.
look, I think both your answers are cute. So he started with Kevin, and then you moved to the show. But this is really about truly opening the doorstep of destiny. And here's what I mean. We had the terrible years at the end of the Belichick era. And then you had the terrible year when the transition. And now this year has been incredible. You've got the 10-game turnaround, all the things that go into it. And now we have a chance to win a playoff game. When's the last time they won a playoff game without anybody named Bill Belichick? 1998. And Bill Belichick is on the Let's Go podcast. I think that's Tom Brady's podcast, giving game plans on how the Patriots can win. So if you're really going to transition out of the past and truly become a new dynasty, this win is a must-win.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the first ever shutout victory, 8-0 for coach.
9.
Wow.
Oh, 8.
Congratulations.
Going home.
An 8-0
Sid, I've never played again.
Unbelievable.
I'm retired.
Super Bowl
Coach,
champion brings it home.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.